Welcome back, Rival fans. Today we're tackling one of the most iconic heroes in the Marvel Universe, the Incredible Hulk. With his unique transformation mechanics and devastating power, Hulk is the ultimate tank capable of turning the battlefield into his personal playground. Starting off with his abilities, Hulk isn't just a tank, he's three characters in one, each with their own unique strength and playstyle. At the start of every game, you start off as Bruce Banner with only 200 hit points, making him incredibly vulnerable. However, he isn't just defenseless, as you have your ray gun that can be used to gain some early game pressure and to poke enemies. Then you have your gamma grenade, which is a nice little tool that can damage enemies and create knockback for you and the enemies, making it a great escape tool. It also restores 20% of your ult, making it easier to transform back into the Hulk. As Bruce Banner, you can transform into the Hulk at the start of any game, when respawning, or even when you're revived by supports. And as Hulk, you gain access to heavy hitting melee attacks and a set of devastating abilities, starting off with Incredible Leap, where you can launch yourself across the battlefield. Now this is a charged attack, as you can hold a charge for up to a maximum of 2 seconds to jump even farther. Also, this ability allows Hulk to knock flying enemies down to the ground with them to where he lands. His next ability, Indestructible Guard, summons a damage shield that absorbs damage for up to 2 seconds. The absorbed damage charges Hulk's ultimate. This shield can also be applied to nearby allies, adding team utility to Hulk. His next ability, called Radioactive Lockdown, emits a gamma ray burst that immobilizes enemies for 2 seconds. These enemies are immune to all damage except from Hulk, giving you time to isolate and punish them. Then his next ability, called Gamma Burst, emits a gamma energy clap that pierces through multiple enemies, dealing solid AoE damage. And last but certainly not least is his ultimate, Hulk Smash, where he transforms into his most powerful form, Monster Hulk, for 12 seconds. In Monster Hulk form, you gain a massive HP boost to 1550, and your abilities deal 75% more damage to enemies. While you do lose Indestructible Guard, you still gain more destructive versions of your normal abilities and a brand new ultimate. Starting off with Gamma Burst, your Gamma Clap now deals more damage and it's dealt in a wider area than before. Then your Radioactive Lockdown immobilizes enemies while also dealing damage every 0.5 seconds for 2 seconds. And lastly, with your new ultimate called World Breaker, you can grab a single enemy and slam them around, dealing a total of 200 damage. After 12 seconds, Monster Hulk reverts back to normal Hulk. However, if you were to lose all your HP as Monster Hulk, you revert all the way back to Bruce Banner form, so manage your health carefully. Now that we covered Hulk's abilities and transformations, let's analyze his key strengths and weaknesses. Understanding these will help you capitalize on his potential while avoiding situations that could leave him vulnerable. Let's break it down. Hulk is an incredible tank with abilities that make him excel in a variety of scenarios. Here are some of his biggest strengths. Number 1. Closing the distance. Hulk's charged leap is perfect for getting those pesky ranged backliners, whether it's a squishy damage dealer or a support character hiding behind the front line. Hulk can leap into the action and shut them down. Number 2. Dominating slow tanks or backliners. His combination of high HP and Indestructible Guard shield lets Hulk absorb massive amounts of damage. Against slow-hitting tanks or backliners, Hulk can outlast them while also being a menace to shield tanks like Doctor Strange or Magneto, since his melee attacks can pierce through shields. Number 3. Countering aerial enemies. Enemies with flight are not a big problem for Hulk, as he can use his charged leap to knock them down, bringing them down with you to where you land. And if the leap doesn't reach them, he can use his Radioactive Lockdown to stun them from range. Now both of these require precision and timing, but when executed correctly, they turn Hulk into an anti-air menace. Number 4. Mitigating risk. If Hulk's health is critically low, his ultimate Hulk Smash provides a safety net. Activating it immediately transforms him into the Monster Hulk, granting him immunity during transformation and a massive HP boost to 1500. Number 5. Immediate impact as Monster Hulk. Upon transforming into Monster Hulk, his new ability, World Breaker, is instantly ready to use. You can use it to interrupt an enemy's ability or to take down a high priority target. And number 6. Knockback utility. In Monster Hulk form, his melee attacks gain a knockback effect, giving him excellent crowd control to create space, push enemy backs, or disrupt their positioning. This can be really great for when enemies are trying to push the vehicle, or when you're on overtime and enemies are trying to capture the space that they're in. You can use this to push them back to stall them out as they can no longer enter into space. But even the strongest of heroes have their flaws, and Hulk is no exception. Knowing his weaknesses is just as important as leveraging his strengths. His first weakness is his limited sustain. Hulk's indestructible guard is his only defensive ability since it only lasts 2 seconds. If a fight drags on, Hulk can quickly find himself vulnerable without any other means to sustain by himself. His second weakness is that he has precision-dependent abilities. Both his Charge Leap and Radioactive Lockdown require careful timing and accuracy. As for Charge Leap, it must be charged for a maximum distance, making it predictable in some cases, and sometimes enemies might be flying too high that they also might be out of reach. As for Radioactive Lockdown, it also has travel time, meaning you'll have to predict enemy movement to land it effectively. His third weakness is that he struggles against high sustain and DPS enemies. Since Hulk's melee attacks can't keep up with high sustain or high DPS enemies, even with his tanky HP pool, he can be kited or bursted down, especially by characters who can heal themselves or avoid his abilities. Number 4. Escaping. While the Charge Leap is useful for engaging or escaping, it still requires charge time to cover significant distance. In high pressure situations where you might be very low on health, the delay can leave Hulk vulnerable to being caught off guard or finished off. And number 5, weak in 1v2 situations. Hulk excels at focusing single targets but struggles when facing multiple enemies at once. While Radio Lockdown can temporarily disable one enemy, it is a short effect that won't win extended fights against 2 or more opponents. Now that we covered Hulk's abilities, strengths, and weaknesses, it's time to dive into his key matchups and synergies. Knowing how to pick your fight and who to team up with is essential to maximizing Hulk's potential. Hulk works best when he's paired with teammates who complement his tanky and disruptive playstyle. Here are some of his team-up synergies, starting off with Doctor Strange. Now with Doctor Strange, when he uses his dark magic Dispel, it gains an additional gamma energy bonus when Hulk is on his team. This makes Strange's shockwave more powerful and capable of knocking back enemies, giving your team better crowd control. His next synergy is with Iron Man. Pairing Hulk with Iron Man gives Iron Man's abilities a gamma boost, amplifying his damage output. This synergy is perfect for teams that rely on sustained damage to overwhelm enemies. His last synergy is with Wolverine. Hulk and Wolverine create one of the most iconic duos in Marvel Rivals. Hulk's fastball special allows him to throw Wolverine at a target location, dealing damage upon impact and setting up Wolverine for a devastating melee combo. This combo is excellent for breaking through enemy lines or targeting backliners. All this synergy is great, but Hulk doesn't come without his counterpicks that can make his gameplay difficult. Starting off with Groot. His walls can make for difficult pathing and can stall out key abilities from you and your teammates. Also, his ultimate can really stop you from diving the backline, rendering you immobile and defenseless. His next counter is Penny Parker. Now, she is meant to be this ultimate anti-dive hero for your team, as she can set up traps and cyberwebs to make her and the enemy team very hard to dive into. A lot of the times you might go into matches and find that at the start of the game, when trying to go onto an objective or push the payload vehicle, you will see most of the times that she has already set up webs and traps all around the battlefield, making it difficult for you and your team to enter. She also has decent crowd control that can slow you down or interrupt key movement abilities from you and your team. His last counter is Doctor Strange. Although Hulk does great against shield heroes, Strange's abilities to stun you out of your Monster Hulk form and have his team focus you can be annoying. Also, if at a distance, Strange's massive shield makes it easy for him to block all of your ranged attacks, leaving you no choice but to take the battle close. Now that we covered Hulk's abilities, strengths, weaknesses, and matchups, it's time to talk about ability combos on how to maximize his damage and survivability. Hulk's power relies on his versatility, but knowing the right combos can elevate your gameplay. As Hulk, you can start with Charge Leap to close the distance, following up with a Gamma Burst to deal damage to multiple enemies, finish off with Radioactive Lockdown to immobilize a support target, and then focus your attack on any other backliners to prevent them from being healed and to win the fight. For survivability, immediately use Indestructible Guard to absorb damage, then cast Radioactive Lockdown to immobilize the closest target. Then use a short charged leap to retreat. This combo can be great for escaping sticky situations while leaving enemies stunned and unable to chase. With these combos and strategies in your arsenal, you are ready to unleash Hulk's full potential on the battlefield, whether it's diving into the backline, knocking down aerial enemies, or holding your own in a 1v2 fight. Mastering Hulk's toolkit is the key to success. But before we wrap this up, let's go over some final tips to ensure your success with Hulk on the battlefield. Number 1. Master your mobility. Hulk's leap is a game changer for both offense and defense. Learn to judge how long to charge your leap based on the situation. For quick escapes, a short leap works best, while a fully charged jump is ideal for diving backliners or reaching aerial enemies. You can also keep the charge held while diving into the battle, dealing melee attacks or abilities, and to be ready to disengage properly. One thing you probably didn't know that you could do as Hulk is during your leap, you can cling onto walls you encounter by holding the jump button, as doing this will reset your jump to use again. And you can do this an infinite amount of times, depending on how many walls are in range. This impactful maneuver can really catch your enemies by surprise. Number 2. Use shields strategically. Hulk's shields is powerful, but it has a short duration since timing is everything. Activating Indestructible Guard just before taking a high damage ability or an ultimate from an enemy. This will charge your ultimate faster since 100% of any damage taken will be transferred onto your ultimate. One thing to note is that while a shield is on your allies, only 10% of the damage they take will be converted as well. A shield like this is still capable of blocking an ultimate like Scarlet Witch's Pure Chaos, Jeff the Landshark's Ult Grab, or even Iron Man's Pulse Charge. Number 3. Capitalize on Monster Hulk's power. Monster Hulk's abilities are devastating, but the form is temporary. During this form, your abilities have very short cooldowns, allowing you to do repeated range attacks to do so. So spamming your gamma charges to do great AoE damage against enemies at a distance can really catch them off guard. Number 4. Promote synergy. Hulk works exceptionally well with certain teammates, so coordinate your team into picking the right allies. When paired with Doctor Strange or Iron Man, time your radioactive lockdown or World Breaker ultimate after they set up their abilities for massive damage. Or if you're playing with the Wolverine, use the fastball special to engage enemies in unexpected ways. Even when using the fastball special from Wolverine, this ability is capable of even countering Jeff the Landshark ult when he has grabbed multiple enemies or allies. Off the bat, this synergy would consist of 2 tanks and 2 DPS characters, with just 2 support picks left to complement the rest of the team. Number 5. Know when to retreat. Hulk is tanky, but he's not invincible. Don't overcommit to fights. His survivability relies heavily on his HP pool. If you're low on health but have your ultimate ready, use it immediately to transform into Monster Hulk. This HP boost can really save you from certain death and give you the edge to turn the fight around. One important note is that you are immune during transformations, so if you can time these accordingly, you may even immune high damaging ultimates like a Scarlet Witch ult. Number 6. Avoid prolonged 1v2 fights. Hulk struggles in multi-target fights due to a single target focused playstyle. If outnumbered, immediately immobilize one of the enemies with your lockdown and use your leap to escape or reposition. Focus on separating enemies to level the playing field. And number 7. Learn to interrupt ultimates. Hulk's World Breaker ultimate is perfect for stopping enemy ultimates than trying to nuke a single target. As of right now, it's only dealing a total of 200 damage, which isn't even enough to kill the weakest backliner. Rather, use it as a tool to stall, as you also gain 30% damage reduction while performing the grab attack. The best time to use it is to wait for an enemy to start casting their ultimate, and then grab them with World Breaker to cancel it. Prime examples of this are when Penny Parker is charging at you with her Spider Sweeper ultimate, or Captain America's Assemble ultimate. You can also do this before enemies cast their ults, like Doctor Strange's Eye of Agamotto, so he doesn't stun any teammates, or even a Scarlet Witch's Pure Chaos before she nukes your entire team. With his raw power and tactical versatility, Hulk is a force to be reckoned with in Marvel Rivals. Whether you're smashing backliners or disrupting enemy ultimates, or even just tanking for your team, Hulk can carry you to victory if played wisely. If you found this guide useful, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more guides, as I'll be doing one for Venom next week, so stay tuned for that. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.